All right, 3, 2, 1, speed. That's a professional term.
Hello and welcome to Meet the SGA. Today I'm here with Daly. Hi, thank you for meeting with me.
Of course.
So before we get started with talking about the SGA, have you ever been on SITTV before?
No, this is actually my first time being interviewed. It's a little scary.
Well, it's okay. You're doing great so far. So before we start talking about the SGA, what else are you involved on campus?
So I was the founder and president of the Stevens Irish Association. I'm a brother of Kappa Sigma. I'm a student ambassador, orientation leader. I was on the e-board of SDS at one point. A few other things. I'm pretty underinvolved.
So since you're involved in a lot of different stuff, what made you want to get involved with the SGA?
So that's actually a funny story. I really didn't have any interest in the SGA before this. I didn't even know what the CCSI was. Like, I was like, what even is that? One day, in December during finals, I think, or maybe not during finals, but a little bit before, I got this text from Jess saying like, hey, like me and Matt were talking and we think you'd be a really good CCSI. And I was like, what is that? Like, I have no idea what that is. So I had a meeting with Emily Noonan, the previous CCSI, and she explained it to me and I was like, wow, like that really sounds up my alley. Like that's a really cool position. But I was really involved with Kappa Sig. I was the rush chair at the time. I was super involved with SIA. I had just started it. I was president. And I was like, I can't walk away from that. So I actually said no. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And they were going to let it go to like other people. But Matt messaged me and he was like, this really long message just like saying like, I really think this is like the position for you. I really think you should do this. And like, you can't say no to the SGA president. Like, how do you say no to Matt Hunt? You can't. And I said, okay. And then they picked me and that's how I ended up here.
So when did you actually join SGA then?
This semester.
This semester, okay. So you mentioned the CCSI, so you're the chair of that. So what exactly is that?
So the CCSI is the chairman of the Committee on Student Interests. So pretty much my main goal is to represent the interests of the Stevens student body. The Committee on Student Interests is all the clubs and organizations at Stevens. It's broken up into 8 subcommittees, 9 if you count non-RSO, and those are like service or professional societies or like ethnic student council, any of those. So basically overseeing those, making sure everything is going well, that student life is thriving, that the subcommittee heads and reps are accurately representing the SGA and representing those organizations for the SGA. And if anyone's doing anything wrong, maybe taking a punitive action, maybe putting organizations in bad standing, things like that, to make sure everyone's following policy and procedure. My job also requires me to work with new RSOs a lot. That's almost a personal project of mine. I've spent a lot of time with that, just helping them get started, relaying all the information that's necessary for them for the SGA. Anything else? There's definitely other things, but that's like the big goals of the CCSI.
Right. So how have you taken on this position and made it your own?
Yeah, I definitely have. A lot of what I've done comes from my experiences. I didn't come from the Senate beforehand. I think that's rather unusual for a CCSI. I came from the clubs. So all of my experience, all of what I'm representing is my time as a club leader, on e-boards of clubs, and thinking back, oh, like I really wish I had this, or I really wanted to have this done, or I really could have used this resource from the SGA. I think the SGA has done a really good job since then about being a resource for clubs and having that good publicity and having that good relationship with organizations that I didn't necessarily see when I was younger. But yeah, that's definitely the twist I had on it.
Okay. Well, you mentioned funding a new club, right? The Stevens,
Founding, yeah.
Yeah. The Stevens Irish Club, right? So could you expand a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So it was my sophomore year, and I went to one of the Ethnic Student Council, like, I think it was like a Thanksgiving thing. I can't really remember what it was. It was some like Bites thing. I don't know. It's some food event, and I was really enjoying it. I was like, wow, this is a great event. Like, look at all these different clubs. Look at how they're like unified. This is really cool, but I didn't have any nationality represented there. I'm Irish, German, French, and British, mostly Irish. And I realized a lot of my friends didn't either. There's a lot of people I knew that were Irish or some other nationality that wasn't really represented. It's not as normal for maybe like an Irish culture to be as like celebrated than maybe like an Indian where it's like
Right.
common. Or so I really wanted that. I really wanted to be able to celebrate my culture, be able to learn about my culture, and to explore it. So I got a group of people together. I can't even believe I convinced them to do it. I honestly really don't think they thought it would actually happen, like it would actually start. But it did. We got it finally voted in and approved at the last SGA meeting of my sophomore year, so that was last year. And then we really hit it off. I remember we had like 100 people at our first event, at our Halloween event. We've had a pretty standard like staying general body, which is really nice. It's growing, which is really, really cool. So it's like my baby. I don't know. It was really hard to leave it when I had to take on CCSI. I mean, the people on my e-board with me, they were always like, it's not like you're leaving us, you're stepping up. You're going to help us in a new way.
Right.
And although I stay unbiased, I've always got a special place for Sia in my heart. Yeah, it was a really cool experience, and it really has helped me as CCSI because a huge part of my role is starting those new clubs. Yeah, it was cool.
That's great. From what I hear, I think it's doing great. So speaking of clubs, do you have any long-term plans for your position or the SGA in general?
Yeah, I've got quite a few initiatives. I guess I can start with what I've done so far. So the first thing I took on was subcommittee heads. Within the SGA, you have subcommittee heads and subcommittee reps that represent the subcommittees under the SGA. The subcommittee reps are the senators, so they're already used to like all this budgeting policy and all these different SGA guidelines. So they were pretty well trained on their own. But subcommittee heads, it was kind of like a up in the air position. No one really knew exactly what their job was. So my first thing I did was I created this subcommittee heads expectation and requirements doc after I met with all the subcommittee heads over winter break. Got their opinions on what was necessary, what they thought the position should be, and outlined basically everything that's required of them. I also created the subcommittee head council. So this is a meeting of myself and all the subcommittee heads, as well as the subcommittee reps and any members of the cabinet who come, where we just discuss campus issues, anything that's going wrong within the different subcommittees or with organizations within those subcommittees, which is a great outlet because if, say, I'm professional societies and I'm having this big issue that arts and music solved last semester, here's this open line of communication that they can have in this meeting. Besides that, I've been tackling dining a lot. I've heard a lot of feedback from organizations about the catering services. So I've had meetings with dining. I've gathered a list of all the Ethnic Student Council vendors, just so that if they can't create a culturally authentic food for an event, that now they have a vendor that they can go to. Just keeping that open line of communication also with dining and making sure I'm helping them improve their services and then they're helping us improve our events. Other than that, I'm starting this thing called the How to RSO. I have a whole team with me on that. Basically, this is going to be like a one-stop shop for RSOs. It's going to be this document, basically, where you can find anything you would need as an RSO. So if I need something on budgets, I go to this, and it takes me to the form I need to go to and explains what I need to do. If I have new e-board members, it takes you to the nomination form. It takes you through the process of adding them on DuckSync, et cetera, et cetera. Just basically trying to cut out the middleman, I guess, making sure that like they don't need to be necessarily meeting with certain people. They can just figure out that information on their own, and then if there's extenuating circumstances, that's when we come in and we can help. Other than that, special interest subcommittee, I'm working on breaking that up. It's kind of like the miscellaneous option for the Committee on Student Interests. And there's nothing that really binds the organizations within it, which is not like the other ones, like arts and music. They're obviously all bound by arts and music. Recreation, they're bound by recreation. Club sports.
Right.
Special interests, there's really nothing. So I'm looking to create 2 different subcommittees. The one that's currently in the works is the religious faith-based subcommittee. We just had MECA start, which is the Muslim Educational and Cultural Association. And then we have Hillel. And then we're also having Newman Catholic, come in as an RSO. So they're going to start the religious subcommittee, and I want to kind of work almost like a council of religions, maybe solving all the world's problems here at Stevens. And then on top of that, I also want to form a different subcommittee called the Electronics and Gaming Subcommittee. We have a lot of gamers here at Stevens and a lot of gaming clubs. And whether it's chess club or people playing World of Warcraft, they have a similar interest in gaming that I think having this subcommittee that binds them would be much better suited for them and allow better representation rather than the special interests where the person might be from knitting club or might be from College Republicans and doesn't really care or know about gaming. And I think that's about it.
Is that it?
I'm trying to like. There's definitely something else, but.
Okay, well that sounds great. I wish you the best of luck in
Thanks.
all of your future plans. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Yeah, of course.
All right, well there you have it. Thank you for joining us. Good.
Great.
Cool.
Woo.